welcome back to the Twitter Pated Mama. I am in the kitchen again today and I'm using my Cosori. I'm making Cuban red beans and rice for dinner, so I thought I would show you how I throw this together. It's a really hearty meal. It's something we all love. My husband and I love it and the boys love it. So I make this pretty frequently every couple weeks. It makes a lot, which is also nice because I can take it for lunch and we can have it at least one other night for leftovers. So in my beans, I do add Turkey Kielbasa. So it's very hearty. You don't have to make any other protein if you don't want to. So I will list the ingredients down below, the recipe, and what you need to do to prepare this yourself. And I'll also show you the steps in this video. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm making what's called the sofrito. And this is what's going to season our beans. So I've put my Cosori on saute, and inside I've added about 1/8 of a cup of olive oil, maybe a little bit more. I kind of just eyeballed it and covered the bottom. And 2 cloves of chopped garlic and 1 green bell pepper seeded and veined. And I just cut that into big slices. So I'm gonna cook this down a little bit, get the peppers a little bit soft and tender, and then I'm gonna add a few more ingredients. I purchased and am adding the Jennie-O hardwood smoked turkey kielbasa to my beans. Normally this is made with like a chorizo or a higher fat sausage or kind of meat to add flavor, but since I've been following Weight Watchers and since we've been trying to eat a lot healthier, I switched about a year ago to this turkey kielbasa and we really like it. So if you are trying to save a little bit on points, you may want to try something like this that's a little bit less fat. If you aren't caring too much about the fat content, then you could add chorizo instead. Okay, so I let those peppers cook down a little bit and then I added my turkey kielbasa. I cut up the whole thing. You don't have to. You can do half, you can do 1/4, but I just want to make this whole dish and then have half of it at least to put away for leftovers. And to this, I'm going to add 1 small can of tomato sauce. So this is the 8-ounce can. Okay, just right in there. Okay, to that mixture, you're going to add about 1/2 tablespoon to 1 tablespoon of onion powder, or you can use fresh onions. You're going to add a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of ground cumin, and a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so all those good ingredients are really starting to cook down now. It's smelling great. And what I've done is I've added 3 small to medium potatoes that I peeled and quartered. Again, this is a step that you can skip if you don't want to add the potatoes, but I find them delicious. They come out nice and soft and tender, and they're just a good addition to this dish. The last seasoning type of ingredient that I'm going to add are these bay leaves, and I'm going to put 2 bay leaves inside of here, and we cook almost everything with these bay leaves. All of the Cuban recipes that I make have to include this, and honestly, I can't really tell you why they're so important, but they are. And if you know, tell me down below, because I don't know. I put them in, and the food tastes amazing, so I just continue to do so. All right, I'm getting ready to add my beans. I'm adding a 16-ounce package of small red beans, and I will advise you to check these before you put them into your pot. If you're not familiar with cooking beans, sometimes you will find small rocks inside the bag, so go ahead and check that before you add everything to your mixture. Okay, I looked through my beans. I didn't find any rocks. I rinsed them, and I added them to the pot. I've also filled up the water to about the 3-liter mark. And now I'm going to put the lid on and I'll show you where to set your Cosori. Okay, so for this recipe, I'm working with hard beans, so I want to make sure that these cook thoroughly. And so I have set this to the beans, and then I've adjusted it to the more. So it is actually set now for 30 minutes as opposed to 11, which is the default for normal. I just want to be sure that these cook entirely through. Okay, so I've had this just sitting. We've been doing other things, and so it's been on warm now for 1 hour and 44 minutes. The pressure came down on its own, and I'm going to open up and show you a look inside. So this is a first look inside. Oh, and it smells really, really good. And everything looks nice and cooked through. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on saute. I want to cook this down, thicken it up a little bit, and then I'm going to get my rice going. And that is going to be dinner. So I've been boiling this for about 10 minutes, and you see how already it's just thickened up. Now you may need to season it a little bit, just salt and pepper to taste. And this is done. Okay, so here's this finished meal, and I just like to serve this right over plain white rice. So for anybody following Weight Watchers, you're going to take points for however much rice you serve yourself. For the beans themselves, I count 1 smart point because of the olive oil. Then you'll add points if you take any potatoes, and add points, of course, for the turkey kielbasa or whatever sausage you decide to add to your beans. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like before you go. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and I will see you next time. Bye!